Yep, they are just as disgusting as you might have thought. Aurora PD releases the photos mocking Elijah McClain that cost 4 officers their jobs. A Justice Department review could be on the horizon for APD. What happened the last time the DOJ looked into a metro area police force? It wouldn't be the 4th of July in Colorado without a mass exodus to the mountains. What are fire departments worried about back here at home as Coloradans celebrate the holiday amid a pandemic? And what I want, you've got. It might be hard to handle, like the flame that burns the candle. Why, I've had Hall and Oates stuck in my head all day. Next. They mocked him, smiling in the spot where he struggled, mimicking the move police used to subdue him, a move that may have contributed to the end of Elijah McClain's life. And tonight, in part because the public is fed up, those officers did not get away with it. Aurora's interim police chief, Vanessa Wilson, announced today that she fired 2 now former police officers involved in this photo. The guy in the middle there, Jaron Jones, resigned before he could be fired. They took this picture near the memorial on October 20th, 2 months after McClain's death, and they sent it to 2 of the officers involved in the struggle with McClain. Officer Nathan Woodyard, who police say didn't respond to that text and deleted the photo immediately, and Officer Jason Rosenblatt, who texted the word "ha ha" back. Wilson fired Rosenblatt for that response as well today.
There are cops that have integrity, they understand duty, and they understand honor. These 4 don't get it. And if any officer in this police department disagrees and thinks that this was acceptable, I will gladly accept your resignation today.
Only a few minutes ago, community began to march in Aurora. Our Ryan Hare has been following that crowd and joins us now from Aurora. Ryan, what are you seeing out there?
Steve, the march should start shortly. This is Billings and Evergreen, where nearly a year ago, Aurora police stopped Elijah McClain on a suspicious person call. Elijah had done nothing wrong. He went to the convenience store to get a drink when police stopped him. A struggle ensued. Eventually, police put him in a carotid hold. Paramedics used ketamine to sedate him. Elijah McClain went into cardiac arrest, and he died days later. So you can imagine there are many, many heavy hearts here. And that anger has only been compounded by the photos that were released today. Mari Newman represents McClain's mother. She said this earlier today.
A lot of you might be very familiar with the Jim Crow South, where white supremacists thought that it was amusing to take pictures of themselves next to the bodies of lynched human beings, of brutal lynchings. And that is exactly what we have seen now today. What we have seen is pictures of Aurora police officers taking pictures just like racists in the Jim Crow South of atrocities. And that is not acceptable.
And that message will continue on. These marchers will continue up the road to APD headquarters. And I can tell you from being there a little bit earlier that the windows are boarded up. There are gates surrounding APD in anticipation of this very upset crowd. Understandably upset following that photo release of those officers mocking an innocent young black man. Steve.
Ryan Hare following those protests for us tonight. Ryan, we will check in with you again at 9 and 10 and on the 9 News Facebook page. Thank you. So Kyle talked to you yesterday about what we in the business call the Friday news dump. Powerful people and institutions do it all the time. They drop news when they think people aren't watching. A tactic that was not lost on supporters of the McClain family who held a press conference after Wilson.
What we are seeing today is the same thing that the Aurora Police Department has continually done. It is a Friday release. They give Miss McClain less than an hour, 2 or 3, to be able to even ingest the atrocities. This is a secondary form of attack on our community.
Now, you will hear a lot of people say that these are just a few bad apples. And that is true. You know, I've met wonderful police officers who live to serve. I've heard from plenty, even within Aurora's own department, saying how horrendous these images are. When you read the investigative report about this, you really get a taste for what might be the real problem here. The 3 officers in that photo told investigators that they took it to cheer up a fellow officer who was involved in the death of Elijah McClain. Officer Erica Marrero said it was meant to be a, quote, "hey, we're thinking of you" kind of thing. Officer Jaron Jones said it was meant to help a brother out. Officer Kyle Dietrich thought it would be funny. All 3 of them were thinking about their buddy who was in trouble and not one of them was thinking of Elijah McClain. If that's the kind of joke that 3 police officers might think that might cheer someone up, it makes you wonder what other jokes might be out there that we don't know about. Makes you wonder about the department's culture. Because you can look at the quality of the apples all you want, but sooner or later you got to take a hard look at the tree. The FBI announced earlier this week that they've been looking at Aurora Police for a possible Justice Department review since the McClain incident last year. Now, we told you back then that the last department to get a look was Commerce City. Commerce City actually asked the Justice Department to review them back in the summer of 2016 after a series of misconduct by officers there. One was accused of staging his own shooting, another accused of unlawful sexual conduct for inappropriately touching women during early morning traffic stops. There was a big news conference at the time announcing this investigation and a promise of a report within 6 to 8 months. We went looking for that report today, couldn't find anything. And then we found the reason. In 2017, then Attorney General Jeff Sessions changed the department doing that investigation, said it wasn't their job to audit police departments anymore. So they didn't do it. Commerce City Police say a few of the experts that had been working with the department offered some suggestions, but nothing was ever written down. Our next question tonight popped up as the city of Denver began to take down statues and monuments of controversial figures of our state and country's past. Several have been brought down proactively by the city itself. Others have been yanked down by mobs of people in the middle of the night. We wanted to know what all has been taken down and where do they take them? So far, the Columbus Park sign from La Raza Park and the statue of Kit Carson are the only 2 things that the city's preemptively taken down. A group of people removed the Christopher Columbus statue from Civic Center Park, as well as that Civil War monument in front of the state capitol. So we were picturing this big warehouse where there's a statue of Kit Carson sitting next to a snowblower or some sod or something. We are told by Denver Parks and Rec that they are currently in storage at different maintenance facilities, so, maybe. They are not going to tell us where those facilities are, though, because they don't want people coming there to try to take them or destroy them. The construction company behind the Central I-70 project is asking for the health department's blessing to make noise at night for 2 more years. That project is a partnership between CDOT and Kiewit. Kiewit's asking for an extension to its noise variance through 2022. Back in 2018, the construction company asked for a 52-month variance, nearly 4.5 years. They were instead given 12 months to do work at night, but in 2019 they asked for a 1-year extension. It was granted, and now they're asking for another one that will essentially take them through the end of the project and grant them the 52 months that they originally asked for. So when asked about that request, Denver City Councilwoman Candy C. DeBaca, whose district includes that stretch of I-70, she told us, our community fought to disallow the permitting of excessive noise pollution. This is an environmental hardship that nobody else in our city is forced to endure. Our neighborhood was already excessively polluted to begin with, which is why we largely oppose this environmentally disastrous project in its entirety. Now, DDPHE will provide a recommendation on that request to its board, which will discuss it at a meeting next month. The public, including the people who may be kept up at night by that noise, can submit their thoughts on that request through August 12th. Speaking of I-70, it is the most Colorado thing we saw today. There's nothing more Colorado than being stuck for hours in traffic as you head up to the mountain for 4th of July holiday weekend. Seems like a lot of people were not going to let the fact that we're in the middle of this pesky little pandemic stop them from celebrating freedom up in the mountains. We hope that if you are headed up to the high country, you're being responsible, wearing a mask, and practicing social distancing. More people will likely opt to stay home this year than you'd normally see, and local fire crews are already on high alert, especially around the 4th of July. There are a few, if any, professional displays this year because of both COVID and because of fire restrictions. So that means firefighters are expecting a lot more attempts at amateur shows.
We have a suspicion that people are going to want to celebrate more at home. People are feeling restless. They feel like they want to do something to have some fun. And at the fire department, we look at that from a preparedness standpoint, and we want to be prepared for the worst case scenario. And in our minds, that's people using illegal fireworks in or around their homes, in the open spaces, and creating a serious fire problem for us.
Eric Hurst with South Metro Fire says crews are still following CDC guidelines, meaning they're wearing masks and they're social distancing, but they sometimes can go out the window in certain situations. Ambulances and fire trucks aren't always designed for each crew member to be 6 feet apart, and wildland fires in particular can make it difficult for firefighters to breathe and stay cool when they have a mask on. The history of COLFAX will live on appropriately on COLFAX. Johnny Barber spent years collecting memorabilia on all things COLFAX. So a flood forced him out of his location. Then History Colorado stepped in for a little bit, and now it has a new home at the Route 40 Cafe. Photojournalist Corky Scholl checked it out.
COLFAX is amazing. Every bit of diversity that you can imagine, it exists on COLFAX, and that's what makes it so special. My name is Mark Whistler, and I am the owner of Route 40 Cafe. It's a restaurant that combines both the COLFAX Museum and just an incredible modern roadside cafe that really is meant to pay homage to COLFAX's history and Route 40. My business partner, Charlie Woolley, he sits on the board of History Colorado, and Johnny Barber, who owns the COLFAX Museum, was doing an exhibit at History Colorado. I think one thing just kind of led to another, and they started talking about the possibility of actually giving the COLFAX Museum another home and another place to display the exhibit here actually on COLFAX at the Lowenstein Complex. We have a wall of fame of many famous people who went to East High School, including Pam Grier and a ton of incredible people, Earth, Wind and Fire, just a lot of amazing people who came from East High School. It's just a lot of really great COLFAX history. Without streets like COLFAX, we would have a very sterile society. This is what gives culture to any community.
We had 4 miles down Colfax to a stretch of the longest, wickedest street in America that's starting to rebound after the pandemic.
Welcome to Hall and Oates, your emergency Hall and Oates helpline.
I don't want to lose you, so please stick around to learn about the Colorado phone number every rock fan needs on speed dial.
Stormy start to the holiday weekend. Take a look at this shot Bill Infield captured. This is looking off to the east in Elbert County earlier this afternoon. You can see that rain shaft coming through and a little bit of hail as well. The thunderstorm still firing up for us tonight across the state. 555 strikes within the past about 20 minutes time, and a lot of those under this line of severe storms. We have the severe thunderstorm warning going at least for another about 5-10 minutes, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that extended out in Lyman. They've just been getting hammered with hail, and then severe cells still going across southeastern Colorado. Right now, a little bit of light rain still coming through parts of the Palmer Divide. Tonight, temps cooling off, 50s and 60s for the eastern side of the state, with 50s up in the mountains. Storms move out overnight, and we're greeted with some sunshine, at least to start our 4th of July. Thunderstorms firing up like clockwork by about 1-2 o'clock in the mountains, and then they quickly move in here to the city by 4-5 p.m. At 9 o'clock, still going strong east of I-25. Bullseye for trouble along I-76 and I-80 tomorrow. Daytime highs will be warm. We'll be back to the upper 80s for highs across eastern Colorado, low 90s with 70s up in the mountains, and then the heat's on. Still looking at a couple of thunderstorms, Steve, Sunday and Monday, but the 90s, my friend, they are here to stay.
Whew, look at a week from today. 98?
I know, triple digits on the horizon.
Hot with an exclamation point is absolutely right for that.
Absolutely.
Thanks, DG. Today is Friday, and on Fridays, we like to share your good news. Today's good news comes to us from East Colfax through the lens of photojournalist Corky Scholl, as that area slowly but surely comes back to life after the pandemic brought things to a halt.
We here at COLFAX in Elmira. This is in front of the Martin Luther King Library.
There's a lot of good news. I mean, I see more people coming out now. I mean, at one time it was a dead town and everybody's out. I mean, look at all the traffic now. At one time, this side of town was a ghost town, and now we're thriving.
What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for being alive. I'm thankful for my mother.
It's time to come together and see can we resolve some of these differences.
All of our neighbors have been just truly wonderful. Lots of friendly, smiling faces. Hi, my name is Betsy Lay. I'm the co-founder and owner of Lady Justice Brewing here on East Colfax. And our good news is that we were able to open up our brewery here in this tap room, even in the midst of COVID. And because we're a philanthropic brewery, we've been able to donate $4,000 to local nonprofits since opening in April.
It's a good time to just talk to people and get along.
I'm just happy to be here and not catch this COVID stuff and all that stuff, you know.
You know, just everything is good.
Stay healthy. Wear the mask. This is probably the best thing to do right now to stay healthy. I know it's hard to do it, but we got to do it.
Keep your chins up. Keep your chins up and your heads up and do what you have to do.
So that's my good news. I don't think you find no better news than that.
The pinnacle of pop rock is just a phone call away.
There's probably a million better ways to hear Hall and Oates than through a phone line that you dial, but the sheer novelty of it, I hope does give people occasion to smile.
And it's got a Colorado area code. Next. So, you know, you've been hearing Corky Scholl's name a lot in today's show, so we figured he deserved a little shout out since he did most of the work today. He's one of the many talented and award-winning photojournalists on the 9 News staff. He's put together a lot of the stories you've seen here today. In fact, most of them, including this next one about a rich girl who was also a man-eater. Say it isn't so that she's gone now, and I can't go for that. No can do. You next viewers, you make my dreams come true. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy this story about the telephone service with a Colorado area code that you never knew you needed.
Really great, catchy songs. Daryl Hall's got probably the most amazing singing voice of all time. My name is Michael Selvage, and a friend and I, 8 years ago now, created Hall and Oates, which is the emergency Hall and Oates hotline.
Welcome to Hall and Oates, your emergency Hall and Oates helpline.
If you ever find yourself in a situation where you need a Hall and Oates song to get you out of a jam,
To hear one-on-one, please press 1.
you can call this number day or night
To hear it go, please press 2.
and hear one of 4 Hall and Oates songs at the touch of a button.
To hear man-eater, please press 3.
So the area code on the phone number is a Colorado Springs phone number. And a lot of people have asked, are you based in Colorado? Did Colorado people come up with this? And the answer is no. That number I chose because the last 5 digits spell out OATES for John Oates of Hall and Oates.
To hear privatize, please press 4.
To be able to make something that one day Hall and Oates actually knew I existed, to me was kind of just like blew my mind. Hall and Oates are both big fans of the line and they think it's funny, and I've been in touch with them on a few occasions and they always get me tickets when Hall and Oates tours, which hopefully happens again soon. I hope people still find joy in it and still call it, and people return the favor and pay it forward and do something nice for someone else.
Goodbye.
Not a single copyright issue with that story. I like it. No, we don't need any of the music. We'll be right back. We're going to keep an eye on protests in Aurora as the night goes on the networks of 9 News. In the meantime, we'll see you next time.